I gotta remember next week. I have one this week.
You don't have me there?
Oh yes. Anybody who loves our Father who art in heaven, make some noise, y'all. Hey! And the temple is with you, and you take it to whatever structure you want to take it to. It could be in a cave. It could be when you're taking a bath. It could be what people say. It could be May, but it is today. Give God the glory. G-O-D, good orderly directions in the mix. Oh yes. When I looked at the Bible, I didn't want to be like the people in the Bible after I saw what they did. I want to be coughing up the truth. I want to be like our Father. Not those characters in the Bible that did all kind of things that unspeakable, but they changed their life around. Putting people's husband on the front line so they can take care of their wives and all that kind of crazy stuff. But there is a God, the word forgiveness. That's why you and God should always be in the glory mix. Voice Radio. If you didn't hear it here, it probably didn't happen. Nerve DJs come out to play, yay, yay, yay. And Johnny O from the Sorcerer Crew. And Nerve DJs in the house. And also, the legendary EP of Voice Radio. Let's give the two CEOs a round of applause. They're in the house. We'll see what happens. And listen to this. Indictments. Glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon. Formed against, yes, glorious destiny.
Oh, yes. Let's give the CEO of Voice of the Radio a round of applause. And he's just called the great who was the attorney for Martin Luther King and the whole civil rights movement, Junior.
Hey,
all right, we're going to turn the music on just, and he's going to say a few comments.
I'm going to just
tell him who you are.
I'm Bill Porter, CEO of VoiceOfRadio.com. And I'm excited about 2020 and all the great things about to happen to the station. It's always about growth, and that's what we're about, man. Growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I got a special guest for you today, Silver B. It's the one and only Stan Edward Moore back there. Is coming in. He's on Just the Two of Us, the Friends, every Saturday with Len Tolliver.
New!
Yeah.
He's new.
And
That's good.
From the group The Cats, of course. We had some hits back in the day.
Wow. I know who he was. He came to me. He
got a new album and new music coming out. He's coming in to talk about that, so can't wait to hear him do that.
All right, we got cats in the house.
I'm still trying to get my lisp out my tongue. I bit my tongue. So I'm still not back to sounding right, ready for the radio.
No, you always sound good, bro.
Always back.
And would you read down the chart for us?
Let me see here. EP is the top 6, that's our 6-pack of shows and their rankings throughout the world and here on the station. So number 6, The Big Head Show. And then number 47 in the world, Backstage with Lillian Powers and Eddie Boomer at 46 in the world. And number 5, Humanity 3.0. Number 42, In One Word with Anthony Colbert. They're ranked number 22 in the world. And The Field with Phil doing this thing at 19. The number 1 show here at the station and number 14 in the world, Silver B.
This whole team, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. And boss, I'm gonna tell them. I tell them around the world when I go to Washington. I was looking at your stepfather and your mother was on stage when President Barack Obama was there at the Phoenix Award. So proud of that. You are definitely in the mix.
Have a great show. What's up, Giorgio?
How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you.
And everybody else here, thanks for coming.
All right. Let's give a round of applause and clap. Voice Radio! If you didn't hear it here, it probably didn't happen. Yes. We have somebody in the house right here. When you think about glory, you got to get the shot, the picture. This man goes back so far with me. When I did hip hop for Barack, when people thought Barack Obama wasn't going to win, And I was with Stephanie Tubbs Jones, the Honorable late great, and my godfather, Congressman Louis Stokes, one of the 12 of them. And I told him I was going with the Honorable Barack Obama as the presidential candidate. And this guy was with me. And he even took pictures at the White House. Let's give King Giorgio Sambino a round of applause. Returning king. All right, give him some of your background. We're going to turn down the music just a little bit.
Hello, everyone out there. I'm Giorgio Sabino. I'm a photographer and artist here in Cleveland, Ohio. And I had the pleasure of photographing, as Sabrina said, the Barack as a senator all the way for the
Come on, y'all, give us that, yeah.
and, White House. And he invited me out twice to photograph the Ohio State Buckeyes winning their first.
Yeah, Ohio, y'all. Ohio. Come on, y'all, yeah.
And next, he invited me out when the Cavs won their championship, so I got a chance to go twice.
All right. Tell them some of the stars that you photographed that you went on tour, like Gil Scott and all that kind of stuff. Tell them about it.
My early years,
Jay-Z.
yes. Jill Scott hired me. I toured with her for 3 years.
All right, come on, y'all.
Management out of Philadelphia. So I
Sound
came
of
with
Philadelphia.
everybody. Queen Latifah and Erykah Badu, and
Yeah.
everyone showed
Wait,
up. for
you
her concert.
said Queen Latifah, and
Yes.
people don't know a young lady from Ohio named Charm used to run the flavor unit, and she's the queen of the royalty round table. Her name is Charm from WJMO.
That's right.
All right, and who else? Some of the people that you
Floyd used to fly me from here to
Floetry, y'all.
New York City to
Yeah.
photograph Sound of Brazil, or SOBs. So it was an amazing time in my life.
I'm glad you didn't say SOB. You said SO.
Sound of
What did you say?
Brazil
SO? SO what?
SOB.
Tell them what that is.
The Sound of Brazil in New York City. It's an amazing nightclub that a lot of people perform at.
All right, and he's going to be doing some other great things that we came about that I hooked him into, and we're going to be doing some things with royalty for real, we're all real royalty, but these are from Ghana. We'll talk about it later in the show. Listen to this show. We got some people that's coming that's bringing kings into. Ooh, we're going to talk about that later. Anyhow, let's get the crown prince right here. Well, he's really a king now because he's how old now? He's knew him since he's a little baby when he's coming along, as a matter of fact. All right, tell him what your name is.
My name's Baden Sabino.
No, tell him what your name is.
King Baden Sabino.
All right, give him a round of applause. That was King Tut. How old are you?
13.
13, come on, y'all. Yeah. And when you say 13, we were 13 in the world on Martin Luther King's family's birthday. Martin Luther King Jr.'s mother and father gave birth to Martin Luther King on the Martin Luther King Day. So we were number 13 on that day. Let's give that a round of applause, y'all. For real. All right, so tell us what you're doing as royal.
Focusing on school.
Oh, come on now. Yeah.
Just trying to keep my grades up.
Trying?
Well, keeping my grades up.
All right, come on, yeah. You always say, next time you say trying, because your father's the king that's the, well, he's the king. King Tut had a father. This is the, I'm trying to tell you what I know, but go ahead.
Getting ready for high school.
All right, getting ready for high school. All right, we're going to play a song that we call, what is it? One Love, One Love. We're going to do that. We're going to take some photo shots while the professional photographers are in the house. There's two of them, twins, right? Twin cousins. All right, and we'll get back to it. We're going to take some pictures, but we're going to do the music and we'll be right back. Listen to this. If you believe in one God, one aim, and one glory, give yourself a round of applause. Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna take a few of them.
Can we get you in the picture? You can't. All right.
Get your cover. 1, 2, 3.
All right. The boss is coming quick.
Okay, cool. No problem.
He's gonna hold the sword. Yeah.
Here we go. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
All right, that's good. Who else is
Hold on, one more. One more.
Back here.
One more this way.
chair.
One more this way. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, right there, the chair with your mind. One in the chair.
Huh? Oh.
Excuse me.
Come on, listen. This song. Okay.
Turn it on. It's on the side. The song.
Somebody keep telling me no.
Oh yes. If you remember King Michael Boyd, he's a singer that sings this song that salutes Sam Cooke. Wow, there's a lot of artists out there I'm thinking about in my head. Sam Cooke. And a little tidbit, Aretha Franklin used to be in love with Sam Cooke. If y'all didn't know, I'm telling you. I'm one of the people who hung around Aretha Franklin, a big Walt and H.B. Barnum, the musical conductor. I just have to be taken back because this song is so good. Let the cough up, the truth. This is radio. All right, we have a returning queen that's here.
Good evening.
All right, I'm gonna turn the music down low. Tell them who you are. I'm excited you showed up too.
How are you?
And I was so disappointed because I knew you had other things to do, but I just wanted you to come through that door.
Well, I made it.
And
You sent the message up. You sent the smoke screen. I came.
that's why I love you. You're one of the best people I know. Tell them some of your background.
I am Queen Pippa, and I am a mother, which is my most important job. I have raised 2 queens and a king.
Wow.
Yes. And I have a law degree from Case Western Reserve.
Yeah. You know, I just came from the ceremony that was at the young lady in this studio, as Queen was at, that was participating. Robert Madison, the architect, who was at Case Western, right? Was he at Case?
Yes, he is an alum.
And I got a picture of him, and I knew him from the past, and we had a great time. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Anyhow, what's your law specializing in that you're doing?
I'm not really practicing right now. When I initially got out of law school, I worked for the state of Ohio as an assistant attorney general.
What? Come on, y'all. Assistant attorney general, that's big time. Whoa.
Once I came back to Cleveland, I started working for the city of Maple Heights as an assistant prosecutor.
They still got the black mayor out there.
I believe so, yes.
Yes, and I remember that when I was out there, they had a black principal in Maple Heights High School. We loved her.
Yeah. And I was assistant law director and the director of mediation for the city of Maple Heights.
Wow. Come on, yeah. We need mediation. Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. I was there when we started the mediation program, so it was kind of like one of my babies. And it works well when neighbors aren't getting along. Instead of, the grumpy old man, get off my grass, stop bouncing the basketball all loud and whatever.
People shoot people with those kind of
They
simple
really do.
things.
And there's some streets in Maple Heights that are definitely...
Like everywhere in the world, even the smallest country town.
Yeah, so mediation works for neighbors. It really helps out. Your dog's barking, and instead of, calling the cops, which at first people did, because that's what you do, then they got referred to mediation, and people were able to sit down and talk and figure out some rules, some guidelines where everybody can live in peace and harmony.
Right, or either fake it till you make it, I tell people. Anyhow, who are some of your mentors that are female lawyers or judges?
Well, when I first got back to Cleveland,
Ohio, everybody out in the world.
Ohio, USA.
There you go, you got it.
Judge Una Keenan was the
She's
judge.
she's on the Royalty Roundtable of Queens too.
That's right. She and Judge Pat Blackman.
Oh, on the
The appellate court, absolutely.
What's the appellate court? Tell them about that real quick.
Okay, so, first of all, there are 2 different types of courts. You can have your state courts, which your state runs, and then you have federal courts, which is the whole nation's courts. So you have at those 2 different kinds of courts, you have like a lower court, which for state court is where your criminal cases and your traffic cases and all those kind of things. If you don't like the results of the case, or you've been found guilty and you don't think you should be found guilty, or civilly, if you're suing somebody for something that they did wrong, like they hit you with a car and the jury or whoever decides that no, they're not liable, then you can appeal that. You get a second shot, basically.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that's what appellate court is. It gives you a second shot at whatever it was. If it didn't turn out your way, you get a second shot. And there's appellate courts in state court, and there's appellate courts in federal court. Federal cases are a little different because, you know, you heard people say, hey, don't make a federal case.
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you what. One of the people that, since I studied a lot of the political stuff and activities, there was one federal judge that said the president is not king. I'll just say that way. You gotta look it up, y'all. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. So for federal cases, they're a little different because people are charged under federal laws, or they do a civil case based on a federal claim. Like, those are kind of big ones, like there is a company that is polluting the groundwater and everybody in the area thinks they've been getting sick from it or whatever. So that would be a federal case where there's a whole bunch of people who decide to sue a big company, a big corporation, or an industry.
And when you say that, think about Abraham Lincoln. When he became president, the federal court system was making sure people didn't get hung that were darker.
Mm-hmm.
So the federals run into stuff like that.
Yeah, and the federal courts tend to look out more for the little guy. State courts, that's the people that are in your state, and depending on where you are, like you said, they was letting us hang.
Wow, oh, you know what? And then to think about it, you want to think about this. I tell my nephews and nieces, if you want to smoke weed, really go to Colorado. Because there's still arrest people doing in this city a lot of times. I'll tell you, the change, prohibition changes and all that kind of, you got to go by state laws and all that kind of great stuff.
Absolutely, California too.
And we got a state, there's a person on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, our state Supreme Court, Melody Stewart.
Give her a round of applause. Man.
Melody is also a Case Western Reserve alumna.
Whoa, drinking that case. No, my fault. I know what that drinking that CSU, but I don't know about Case Western Reserve. I'm just joking.
Right. Yeah, Justice Stewart, and that's the proper nomenclature, is on the highest court in the state of Ohio. And she happens to be one of 2 Democrats who were elected statewide in Ohio. So that's an incredibly big deal because the Democratic Party has kind of been in a backslide in the state of Ohio.
Oh, wow. And we're going to come, we got some special guests coming. I'm going to shock you about to come this evening. Anyhow, people must remember this. I told you when I was 18, I was a Republican. If you look at the Republican Party, the party of Lincoln, you'll see how it shifted. A lot of Republicans were for the Reconstruction period. And if you look it up, you'll know who were the people that were Congress people and U.S. senators that were the darker skin. And then they were treated almost like President Barack Obama was when he tried to get somebody on the Supreme Court. I want you to do your research. We're going to have organizations coming in later. It's going to be interesting, and everybody's going to want to be involved with this. Anyhow, who else is your role model?
Aside from Judge Keenan, Judge Blackmun, and Justice Stewart, let's say, because a lot of people really don't realize or remember that the Obamas are both attorneys.
Yes, y'all remember that? Yes.
Both attorneys.
Yes.
Right, and because you're an attorney, you have that law degree, doesn't mean you really have to practice law. You don't have to like be a defense attorney, which I have done, or be a prosecutor, which I have done. You can also use your law degree to do a lot of different things. A lot of attorneys go into nonprofit work and work for nonprofits that help people.
We're going to get that because I want you to do a moment with the law later on. That's what I'm talking about doing, whatever you want to do that piece. Tell them the difference between a prosecutor and a defense attorney because a lot of people still don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of like it sounds. A prosecutor they're the attorneys for the state or the city or the county. And so they're the ones that represent the governmental agencies. even when you talk on a federal level, they call them district attorneys in some places, prosecuting attorneys in some
Do they
places.
need witnesses a lot of times?
Absolutely.
All right, now, impeachment moment. Oh, come on, y'all, get around. Come on. I got that in there. I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I was that kind of person back in the days. I was just like, I was all over the place. But you just gave some edutainment, education that's very neat. That's what I want a moment with, as you see it as a lawyer. I want you to do that for us.
Okay, well, let me finish because you asked the difference between defense attorneys and prosecutors. Defense attorneys are the ones, if you're charged with a crime or someone wants to prosecute or sue you for money damages, the defense attorney is your attorney. They're on your side and they defend you. So it's just kind of like every king and queen has a knight.
Wow.
And the defense attorney is the knight, your knight.
So the president is our president, whether y'all like him or not. Like I told President Obama, you have to give him what they have. So he has some attorneys on his side, and the House has some attorneys on their side.
Absolutely.
So
It's a little different with an impeachment process because it's a process and it's constitutionally mandated. It is in the U.S. Constitution. Federal employees, and the president is a federal employee. He works for us.
he had a program called "You're Fired," and well, let me cut it out. Go ahead.
Hated the show. Saw it once.
Wait.
or twice.
You made me think about some of my friends who I admire. Hated it. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it is constitutionally mandated, the impeachment process. And right now, all the rigmarole that is going on.
Rigmarole. Explain that to my 6th graders. Rigmarole.
Oh, shiggity.
Oh, she must be listening to some hip hop. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so all these things going on right now in the United States Senate about how we're trying to set up the rules and all of these things, it's already in the Constitution. And it would behoove the senator from Kentucky or, to go by the rules that are already written. He's trying to rewrite some rules, but you can't do that without a constitutional amendment.
Oh.
And we haven't had a constitutional amendment since about 1920. You can't just amend the Constitution on a humble. And that's a long process, and I won't go through that process now because I'm about to get in my teacher mode.
Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Anyhow, thank you. Let's give us a snap, y'all.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to listen to this music, and we'll be right back. We got some cats in the house. Some meow cats as performers. I gotta get some cat food. I'm gonna get a light and shine it. Maybe they said that. I seen on Dr. Doolittle. Oh. All right, we're gonna put some cats in the studio.
Okay.
Some cats. We're gonna be doing it in 1 minute. We'll be right back. Do we have? Oh yes. Oh, watch this. I'm not gonna tell you. Oh, I'm going back to I ain't. Oh, I'm feeling good. I must feel good. Anyhow, I want you to give me a little taste of your voice.
Okay. I'm not a man man of many words. I'm gonna make this sweet and simple. The love that I have for you is more than you realize. That enough?
No. No. Now you gotta give me another song. Never asked me if that enough. I will tell you. All right, give us some more. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
I thought you was gonna do hip hop or something.
Oh, no. I'm a strictly old school.
Come on, let's go.
What? You're my love, you're my life, you're my world. You're my number one, only girl in my life. You're my everything, yeah.
All right, give me a round of applause. Now. CAT. What does CAT stand for? Give us a little history of CAT.
Okay, first of all, I want to make it known, I never liked the name Cats. I never liked them. When they came to us and told us that was going to be our name, my first thought was, how are you going to market this? That was my first thought at 22 years old. How are you going to market this name? Cats came from our co-founder, Bobby Lee Scott. He came up with that name because he felt as if in the music world with musicians, that's how musicians they address each other. That's how they talk. Like,
What's up, Cat?
What's up, Cat? That's how
We call women Cat. What's up, Cat?
Exactly, but that's where they got the name from.
But they didn't use the other word. Like Pussycat.
Right.
No, y'all don't remember.
So that's how they came up with
Pussy
the name.
Willow.
Yeah, and so Cats really never had nothing to do with the animal, just the slang talk and how people, address, how musicians pretty much address each other.
But we loved y'all as the name Cat. So tell them, I want you to use the name you used on the recording, and tell us about that recording you had out back in those times.
Okay, My Everything, we recorded it back in 1991, in the winter of 1991, and released it that spring of 92, and that's when everything kind of went off with...
Well, let's talk about going off. We want to go off.
Lynn Tolliver Jr.
Lynn Tolliver, give him a round of applause. That's one of our Lynn Tolliver and Ralph Poole was with 93 FM WZAK, and I invited them to join this station. They're on Saturdays from 9 to 12, and they're Kings of the Royalty Roundtable. And Lynn Tolliver and Ralph Poole and I were together. I was with Michael Jackson in 1988 in Richfield Coliseum when Michael invited me and the people that I had with me. We'll talk about that another time. And Ralph Poole invited me the next day to be at the same concert. We were all close like that. But anyhow, go ahead.
But anyway, I mean, it was like when we had wrote that song, the song really wasn't finished when I recorded it. So it wasn't. The song was not finished. So when I brought it to
Bobby's you have flashbacks. Wait.
They do.
Any doctors in the house? Go ahead.
So when I brought it to Bobby's attention, I said, Bob, we got a freaking hit on our hands. So I let him hear it. He said, we got to go in the studio and record it. I said, no, we don't. We're not ready for it yet because I still have to write a bridge for it. So we got in the studio.
Wait, a bridge now. People are thinking about the Pettis Bridge right now.
No.
The
bridge is the part in the song that changes after the chorus or
Give us an example.
It's hard to explain what it is, but the bridge, here it is. The bridge of the song was where he was talking.
Give us something.
I can't replace what he said, but he was saying on a level of hi, you're in town, I'm back in town. He was talking at that point, but there was no vocals, there was no nothing up that bridge. I hadn't put nothing in yet, so I'm like, we went into the studio and I was unprepared at that point, and I'm like, dang, he wants to redo these vocals, he wants to do verses, he wants to do the backgrounds. I don't have no bridge for this song, so he wrote out this script, and I don't know if he found this young lady on the street or he found her outside or whatever, came back and they did this script of where he said, just look out the window.
He said, oh, you're going to say stripped, and I was going to say, where are we going with this?
No. He was out he went out into the street somewhere. I don't know where he found, I don't even remember who that woman was, but he found her. They recorded that part, and that part became very
historic for everybody. That's what everybody remember out of that song.
Well, that song did something for somebody.
Yeah.
So who was right on that call?
Well, I guess he was.
Ah, give him a applause. Look at him. He's still
Sometimes, yeah, so, I mean, even though sometimes they make the calls that you don't see and it comes up
Oh,
to the point to where
I'm glad you said that because
Yeah.
that's what I tell my team all the time.
Mhm.
I'm hard on them. I change stuff off because sometimes that's something that's given to you
Yeah.
for the team.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm glad you're being
Yes,
honest. though.
sometimes, sometimes you, well, I mean, you know, and back in the day, I was still livid about it for a long time because, wait a minute, dude, that's not how I wanted this song to come out, but it came out like that, and that's, so it's like now everybody remember, so man, what the dude that said, look, just look out the window. I don't know where he is now.
Oh.
But that's what everybody remembers.
Well, tell us where that song took you and what some of the things that you did that was exciting from that
Um,
blessing. That was a blessing.
Oh shoot, I've got to sing that song at doctors' weddings. A doctor flew me to North Carolina one time.
Was his name Dr. Bird?
I'm not gonna say what his name was.
Y'all did it, y'all did it. Y'all did not get it. I just saw Dr.
But-
Doolittle. Y'all did not get
But
it.
he was listening to my song, and he had reached me through Facebook Messenger and all of that kind of stuff, and he was like, man, he says, when I was an intern back at Ohio University, that was my song back in the day. I'm about to get married, bro. I need to fly you to North Carolina to sing this song with
Wow.
you. I said, sure, sure I will. And he wrote me a check for $3,000 to fly.
Well,
out
come on,
there
now, get.
to sing.
And you remind me of Jennifer Hudson. I hope we can find her when she said, "You must listen, cause you got a blessing." It was a blessing, cause you
Yeah.
had talent. They could see it real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. It was that was just one.
Uh-oh, look at it. Wait, let me go. Let me do this. That was just one. Like,
That was just one.
what I'd like you to do is that I know you gave us some already, but that hit, and we know it was a hit. Give us 30 seconds of that hit again that they almost didn't do it the way you wanted to do it, but it came to hit.
There will be times we would never talk to one another. You're always on my mind. The love that we had is real. I'll forget the rest.
No, you was good. Let's get it.
Sorry, but only because the new project is on my head.
I'm gonna talk about that.
Yeah, so that's
What I
how.
do is I like to look at the roots and then look what comes out of the roots. And,
Yeah.
and I remember, because I was on the radio many years as co-host doing all that, and I remember, that's why when you came in the studio, I would say, because you know how production is.
Exactly, yeah.
But it works, because you know what happens? It came from your spirit.
Yeah.
So tell us about the new project.
The new project, oh God, oh Father Heaven, thank you Lord. The new project, Stand Edward Moore, it's been in the making for like 2 years. So it's called Stand Edward Moore, and it's simply called The Album. And this album is due out to be released March 18th.
Do you have anything with you on that? Or?
I sent everything to Earl, who's supposed to send it to
Let me ask a question. How late, we got some guests coming, how late can you stay around with us?
I can stay around. I'm independent. I can stay with as long as I want.
All right, then we're gonna do that, right? We're gonna do that, all right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna, Cats, I like that name.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
We'll be right back. Let's give our guests a round of applause. Yeah! I'm gonna claw y'all. Watch this.
Oh, snap.
Yes. To remind you, we had a very successful program with the Cleveland Public Library. We're going to get into that. But I want to remind you about Coretta Scott King, was her husband's faithful partner and a civil rights icon herself. From the day she married King in 1953 to his death in 1968, Coretta Scott King stood by her husband's side as a devoted wife and partner. She served as a primary caregiver to the couple's 4 children. And you know, when I was mad at Dr. King, because I'm like, how can you leave your children there and you're going out marching? You know, as a child, children think a little bit different. Your children almost got bombed. I was like that kind of kid, thinking like that. And dad is gone. So I had to understand the whole picture of the sacrifice. So when two people get married, and I came up with this in my spirit after I left that program at the Cleveland Public Library, in my heart, something came out. Even though we know MLK Day, two is as one. So I said MLK and CSK Day, because two becomes one when you marry. Let's get that round of applause there.
I also, just to piggyback on what you were saying.
No, I don't like pork. Don't
Okay, well, excellent.
Take it back.
I guess,
Cat back.
Okay, well, just to beef back on what you were saying.
Oh, where's the beef?
A lot of people, how they're understanding MLK was going by God's will. And a lot of people, when you go by God's will in your life, the outside people are never going to understand your relationship between you and God. I find out a lot of times.
Well, let me tell y'all.
Sometimes when God gives you that will,
You're right.
people on the outside are not going to understand what God put in your heart to do.
And we come short of things also. We got to remind that part. Because I'm one of the people that was around this King family. And she dealt with a lot of stuff that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
So she was a faithful partner. We got to make sure we give that credit. But man is human.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure y'all know that. Because I've seen the other pain. Coretta Scott and Martin Luther King's daughter, Reverend Bernice King, came to Cleveland when I was at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference with Reverend Cavanis and the whole group. And she said this, and I was on stage with her. She said, "My father took a bullet. What are you willing to do?" Think about that, everybody. My father took a bullet. What are you willing to do? And I want you to study on Coretta Scott King, because a lot of things he did was because of her. And I'll read that later because I'm kind of pumped up right now. What do we listen to right now? What's the name of the song?
Song's titled My Everything by Cats.
All right, give a round of applause, y'all. Let's go there. Back it up, y'all. Oh, wow, this is Cats, y'all. A flashback in the mix. Can you sing to this song right now?
Oh, Silver.
Now you're doing like Stevie Wonder. Oh, and you got caught on tape on that.
That's all good. That's all good. I'm gonna give a shout out to Cats too. Leon Anderson, Fred Foster Jr., John Jackson Sr. Love those guys. Been my brothers from day one.
I'm going to sing with them. The last part. Now we gotta get the call on tape.
Oh no. Man, you know, look, I was a fresh 23 years old doing that.
Oh, that's a good excuse. We got a call. Hold up, y'all. Caller, are you there? Who's the cat on the phone? Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? I'm putting my little radio voice from the past. Caller, are you there?
I am. This is Doc Squared. I was waiting for my husband to come back to the phone. He has not returned. I apologize. Can I just go ahead and hang up and wait for him to come upstairs and then call back?
Oh, so we got fans calling in.
Yes, you got fans calling in. Squared is myself, Dr. Essie Hamida Rockman Woods, MED.
All right, the caller will be back because they're host of their own program. They'll be back. Give them a round of applause, y'all. All right. So, tell us about that new project you have coming up.
Okay, before I get into that, I just wanted to go back with Cats for a second. And we were up for the Lifetime Achievement Award for the greatest R&B awards from Cleveland on May 16th of this year. So,
All right,
we'll be
come on.
receiving that award.
And who's going to, is that Kermit? Henderson part of that.
Yeah, because
That's
what's
right.
crazy about is when Kermit had contacted me, I was getting to my I used to work nights at Cleveland Clinic, so I was going to go to sleep.
Right.
So I said I had to call him later, and the next day when I came in, Dennis called, and I'm like, okay.
Dennis Cash.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait, hold up. Dennis Cash part of the Royal Roundtable, y'all. And they work with the Jacksons and all that kind of stuff.
So it's like, I said, okay, what's going on? These two trying to contact me. So by that time, Dennis had texted me and was like, I need your email address because we want to honor you guys this year for the R&B group, best R&B group award for '92. Back in the day, we want to honor y'all. So I'm like,
Ohio, right?
yeah, Ohio. So I said, okay, cool. So we'll be going to get that award on the 16th of May.
All right.
So,
And let me tell them, Kermit is, if you look up Kermit Henderson, you'll know somebody that's big in the world of entertainment. In fact, he's the one that had a group called the Dual Star Production. And Johnny O, I'm not going to give you all the particulars, but Johnny O and Jazzy Jeff was battling at a place called Mad Hatter and all that was going on. All right, so they put Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff with me because I'm from Philadelphia also. I came from the country town, went to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I was team sitting Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff in my car, hanging around me because I was from Philadelphia.
Right.
So I want to thank Dual Star for that. And also Kermit worked with Bone Thugs-n-Harmony in the beginning on The Faces of Death on the back of that tape also. So Kermit is a milestone in the music industry.
Yeah.
And I tried to interview him. He says, he's kind of humble with that piece. But now that he's doing this show, I'm going to get him on the radio. All right, anything else you want to say?
Just with the project, with Stand Up and More project will be available on all digital platforms March 18, 2020. So that album got 21 tracks.
All right, come on, 21.
It was very inspirational, and that album really tells about me in general as an artist, as a person, more so the personal side of me because of what I went through within the last 2-3 years with losing my home, being almost homeless, my divorce, really starting from scratch.
Well, let me tell you about
I wrote
that.
all about it.
Everybody goes through something.
Oh yeah.
And I talk about my friend KRS-One, who was in the same situation almost when he became the president of, record companies and stuff. People go through, when you read their history and her story, people go through stuff. And I think that's the way of God saying, now, who's your daddy?
Yeah.
And you really got to look up when you're down.
Yeah.
And so when they say the victory is won, it's always that way.
Yeah. And you also learn to, if you have God in your life and God is first.
Uh-oh.
One thing you learn about that is God sits back and it's kind of like that Kevin Hart thing. It's kind of like that Kevin Hart quote. We
talked about hearts.
God sits back and like, okay, are you done? Are you done? Are you gonna listen to me now? Are you done? Pretty much. And he positions you to where you have no choice in life but to trust him.
And the thing about it, you got that observation of God. I've never seen God sit down, but no, I'm not. All right, let's turn it up. Turn it up, y'all. Louis Moore is a friend of mine who I told him, I said, I want to talk to Prince. He hooked me up, and I ended up knowing Billy, the manager.
Sparks.
I know him from the Ohio Valley Urban Music Awards. I was with LL Cool J when he's 17. I was getting on him about drinking and stuff, like they got on me. I tell the truth, man. Arsenio Hall was on the show. I was representing Congressman Stokes, giving out the awards to the Fat Boys and all that. Right. I don't know if you were there. You might have been there.
I think I was.
MC Chill was there, and
we were there.
Right.
I met Bill Cobb that night.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And his nephew used to be an engineer here at the radio station when I first started.
Oh, okay.
Small world. You almost let me die, but I'm gonna come back because I'm thinking about now Joe Little. Crank up Joe Little, and we'll talk about the rest. I'm excited now. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yes. The legends. The Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame inductees from 2019. We were there, and I keep saying that King Curtis and I was there, weren't we, King Curtis?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, we had a good time. We're gonna be there again, maybe. Oh, I'm getting caught on tape with my looks, too. I always get these looks. That's just part of my dramatics. Just say like you mean sometimes, boy. I am mean sometimes. Now look, I made him smile. We have this song I love called "You Gotta Make a Way for the Young Folks." I love that song. If we can pull that up, I love it. All right, we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, we are both here.
Yes, Dr. Ware, you're back.
Oh, wow.
What's up?
Oh yes. Tell them who you are. Wait, hold on for a minute. Tell them who you are.
Well, I'm Dr. Essie Hamida Rockman Woods, MED, MED2.
And I am Dr. Kwaku L. Carlisle Woods, RN, MD, MED1.
And tell them what the name of your show is here at Voice of Radio.
Our show is called Humanity.
Humanity 3.0.
Come on, give us a snap, y'all. Yeah. And they're a husband and wife team. They are it. Tell us how did you run into you're part of the Royalty Roundtable. So
Well, I would like to believe so.
Yes.
well you didn't say king. You didn't say king and queen, so I didn't understand that. All right, now let me do it again. Tell them who you are.
Wow.
We are Dr. Ware
Yes.
of Humanity 3.0.
Yes.
Prometheus Reborn Universal Foundation, teaching the next stage of evolution of the human species.
Ashe.
All right, we're going to do it again. King and Queen of the Royalty Roundtable. And we
Yes,
have
sir.
all the stars like you to say the same thing. Tell them who you are at the Royalty
Well,
Roundtable.
We are Dot Squared,
We are.
and our mission is to change mankind through the tune, trivalent, understanding, no edits, and no edits is the study of faith, belief, and intention, and that's what we base our knowledge, our idea of a better human being.
True that.
All right, so how did you come involved with the hip-hop movement? And we talked about it a little bit earlier. How do you know yourselves as kings and queens of the Royalty Roundtable?
It came through my nephew, Robbie, Robbie's last name, Curtis. He spent summer with me while I was in Louisiana as vice president for primary care for the state of Louisiana. And he introduced me to KRS-One. He introduced me to the album Criminal Minded. He asked me, was I into hip-hop? I said, not really. I'm more into jazz and funk and soul and R&B. And he introduced me to that album. I loved it. I went out and bought everything I could find and got so deep into the hip-hop culture and the hip-hop movement. When we got to Cleveland, and I was asked by Mackenzie Tate III to help him form a new type of record label that just used not the degrading, disabling tenets of hip-hop, but used its same spirit and culture to create something new that we called hip-hop. And we've been practicing hip-hop out of Cleveland, Ohio for the past 20 years.
All right. So tell them how you got involved with the hip-hop for Barack concept.
Okay, well, that's called the leading question, but I don't mind being led.
Okay.
If the destination and purpose are good. So, there was a guy once upon a time, he had a show called The Living Room, and he was a good friend of Global Entertainment, the record label that McKinley and I formed. He used to have us to his living room place a lot, performing his Humble G and the Afropeans or Global Entertainment.
That was on
And
Lorraine
he asked
Avenue.
me one day if I would be interested in opening for this new guy who wanted to be president. Senator from Illinois that was coming to Cleveland for the first time. To make this long story very short, after auditioning, I guess, for them and showing them hip hop and Afropean music, we were selected to be the opening act for this new presidential hopeful. He went on to actually win the presidency. His name was Barack Obama. The guy who was the person who introduced me to the opportunity to open and introduce Barack to Cleveland was a guy by the name of Silver B. Richards.
No, you got that wrong. You got that wrong. You got that wrong. Bill Silver B. Richards.
Played a role, but
Bill Silver B. Richards.
Richards.
People can call me Silver B all the time instead of saying Bill Silver B. Richards. But I'm gonna say that I really felt comfortable with the hip hop movement as we know it. Most of us know it. And when I had consulting with people that I knew, I had to make sure the hip hop was the right kind of hip hop. And I want to say that I appreciate that you and the whole crew and Humble G, the black violinist, he might be called sometimes, but not the black violinist that y'all know the group that's out there, but he just happened to be.
It's known as Humble G, the fiddler.
And you can look him up. That's what it is. He's a
Now being distributed by a guy by the name of Jay-Z.
Right. Let's give him a round.
Out of New York.
That's right. All right, thanks a lot. Good doctors. Y'all both are doctors. Give them a round of applause.
Oh. The ancestors continue to protect you.
But you said this is the year of what? You said this is the year of something.
This is the year of recognition.
So everybody in here,
2020
this is gonna be your life.
is the year of recognition. Everybody who has done something that need to be recognized will get that recognition this year.
I believe that sincerely because it already has started this year, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about that later too. We're going to come in, and we have a special group coming in that's internationally known. That's coming in with a movement that Marcus Garvey. You've ever heard of that name before?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We're going to get the president and the local president. Not the crazy president, not local like that. The local chapter president. And we all go crazy now. Let's go crazy. Let's go. We gotta play that. I gotta dedicate that to somebody. I ain't gonna say who, but anyhow, let's give them a round of applause, y'all. We're gonna do a song.